It is my pleasure to welcome Michael Darden to Studio 4. He is a father who is raising 2 autistic sons. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi,
welcome
Fanny.
to Vancouver.
Nice to meet you too.
Tell me about your sons, all of your sons.
Michael James is my junior. He's 14 years old. He is what's called NT, or neurotypical, meaning that he develops as the customary way for children to be able to get into school and be able to function normally. Benjamin, who was born on my 30th birthday, is diagnosed with classic autism. And TJ, my youngest, has Asperger's syndrome, which are all part of the autism spectrum disorders. So 2 of them are considered to be ASD.
Before your sons were diagnosed, was there any autism in your family?
No, not really. There's certainly some quirkiness of people that were tied to engineering and to some specific space type of programs, but nobody that was specifically diagnosed, because the diagnoses really didn't take place the same way as they do now.
Who knows exactly what it is? Anyone?
Lots of research, lots of dollars have gone into it, but there's really not an answer yet of what autism is. It's a neurological disorder that affects children in a variety of different ways, where it can prohibit their behavioral approaches of working with other or playing with other children, with their language, with their ability to learn, with their ability to socialize, with their ability to communicate, and all different levels of severity or of extra special skills that they can have as well. Some of these children have fantastic art capabilities, where they have basically a photographic memory and can look at a city and draw the most fascinating details of the entire city because of the way that their neurological disorder affects them.
Someone said, perhaps yourself, beneath the surface of every autistic person is a gem.
I certainly think that's true. I get gifts every day from my children of watching the little gifts that they provide to my wife and to I, with just the little treasures that they come up with, where there's a new phrase that comes out of their mouth, where they've learned a new skill, where they've just interacted with the world in a way that they've connected.
How did you, as a father, recognize it in your child?
When it first happened with Benjamin, when we first saw that Benjamin was exhibiting some behaviors that were not exactly what you would consider normal. He would turn a truck over and spin the wheels on a truck, and then he would keep spinning the wheels on a truck and keep spinning the wheels on a truck, and the repetitiveness and the lack of diversity in the type of play is certainly an indicator of what takes place. Benjamin had a very unique skill that he liked to be able to do, which was spinning pot lids. He would go into the cupboard and get pot lids to be able to spin them on the floor, and could get 4 pot lids to spin at the same speed so that they would all fall at the same time. And we thought it was just, cute. But in hindsight, it was the beginnings of being able to see some of the signs of some abnormalities.
How was it officially diagnosed?
When we started seeing some of these behaviors, we went to a psychologist, and it's very difficult to be able to get a true diagnosis because there's no blood test you can take. Right. There's no real doctor evaluation that they can say, here's the checklist of what to be able to do. Although over the past 5 or 10 years, they've actually come up with some standardized tests that are now being pushed into the doctor's offices for them to be able to ask questions to the parents to try to get an earlier diagnosis. They find that the earliest way to be able to, the best way to be able to treat a child with autism is to be able to get earlier diagnosis and earlier intervention, so that you can start to rewire the way that the brain works with different biomedical treatments, with different behavioral treatments, and different things that you can do to be able to try to make those connections and make them connect to the world that they're a part of.
What's fascinating to me is that you can have an autistic child who has no language skills, or you can have an autistic child who's going to university. A Jane Austen, a Daryl Hannah, a Beethoven, Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, the
all
list goes
autistic.
on and on and on. It's just fascinating to be able to, the typical development environments of what happens inside of a school, where they want to be able to have a child meet certain milestones at a certain time, I think is fantastic for the neurotypically developing individual. But a child that has autism needs to have their own individual education plan. They need to meet their own milestones and have the opportunity to be able to celebrate what their special gifts are that they bring.
Okay, so one-on-one, which says expensive to me.
It does say expensive, but there's really not another approach that works very well. All the studies that have been done identify that treatment that is showing There's several different ways to be able to go about it, but basically there's some biomedical treatments that happen, there's some behavioral interventions that can take place as well. The biomedical approaches allow you to be able to work with diet and nutrition, to be able to influence the way that the body reacts to certain types of gluten or casein, which tend to be able to bring some different types of effects with different children. Again, it's a spectrum of disorders, and because it's a spectrum, some children can drink a glass of milk and be absolutely fine, and others will have a glass of milk and be bouncing off the walls, or others will be then sleeping on the floor.
So it's a holistic approach, and yet again, it's an individual thing. It's as any great doctor will tell you, we're all unique. And we need to treat you that way.
Absolutely.
Personality medicine at its best.
Well, even in the school systems, what they typically do is, with children that are on the autism spectrum, is develop an individualized education plan. And the individualized education plan identifies target goals of what the children are trying to, or what the educators are trying to be able to teach that child, whether it's reading skills or math skills, academic components, or self-help skills of where they learn how to be able to dress. These children don't typically learn by watching other people and seeing, oh, well, that's how you put your pants on, so that's how I do that. They don't really pay attention to what's going on in the world around them from that perspective, although they have an innate ability to be able to capture everything that happens around them. They just don't necessarily learn from it.
Are Ben and TJ affectionate?
For many years, it was difficult to be able to get the hugs and kisses from them that we wanted, but they've both realized that they're in a loving home, that their parents care very much for them, and now we get hugs and kisses on a regular basis. And I think it's still difficult because some of the sensory issues that my children have specifically, they have a hard time being able to be touched or touch other people, but they recognize the need in others, and you know, we'll break out of their shell a little bit to be able to give a hug.
And when you say sensory issues, if a certain fabric touches them, if a hand touches them, they feel obviously how their brain is wired is different.
It's so difficult to understand. I've talked to recovered children that are now working in a normal environment of carrying on a job, and can carry on conversations and can remember what it was like with that, and they feel like it's pins and needles when somebody touches them, or if there's a tag on the back of their shirt, that it can just absolutely just like constant pressure in that area is so difficult, whereas other children, pressure on their skin or pressure in tight clothing is comforting for them to be able to feel. So it's really unique for each individual child of what's going to work for them and what's not going to work for them.